Getting to work with and treating some of the greatest pro athletes in the world was one of my proudest accomplishments so far in my career, but it also came with a lot of headaches and frustrations. There's a lot of awesome things that come with working with pro athletes and teams, but sometimes chasing after that dream comes with a difficult process, many roadblocks, and not having it be the dream we hoped it would be. This episode was inspired by a fellow practitioner asking me about my own experiences working with the pros, how to get your foot in the door, and how much it benefited my personal practice. Yes, there were many positives that came from it all, but all the negatives left me with a different outlook on the whole notion of working with pro athletes. In this episode, I share some of the amazing things that came from working with pro athletes, but also share some cautionary tales and negatives that came out of it as well. I hope you learned something from my own experience and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Soft Tissue Treatment Revolution, where we teach overworked massage therapists a better treatment system that will allow you to cut your treatment times by at least 50% so you can stay healthy, avoid the dreaded burnout, and help a hell of a lot more people get out of pain. If you're new to the show and you don't know who I am, my name is Dr. Matt Maggio. I am a soft tissue injury treatment expert specifically for neck, shoulder, elbow, and wrist pain. My focus is on finding and fixing scar tissue and reducing inflammation from chronic injuries without the use of drugs, injections, or surgeries, which does lead to a significant increase in overall functioning and long-lasting pain relief. Thanks so much for stopping by and checking out the show. Let's get right into it. The good and the bad that comes with treating pro athletes. I got asked my thoughts, I think it was a couple weeks ago. Someone messaged me and I was talking to them about possibly joining my clinic and my practice. I've talked about this before. I'll just give a little shout out and a plug there. We are getting ready to open up a massive, awesome, one of a million, I guess, just really cool clinic here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I've been talking to people, trying to recruit people to come on and be part of my clinic and my practice. And they liked my mission, everything we're doing. But they told me they were really just holding out to work with a pro team. They want to work with pro athletes exclusively. That's what they want to do. And asked me my opinion on it and my own experiences, because I have worked with lots of pro athletes over the years, a lot of high-end people that you might not even, you know, not that you don't know that you do know, but I don't share who I worked with. And I wanted to use this episode to really educate you as well, because there's some really awesome things that come about from working with pros, but there's a lot of nightmares and headaches and frustrations as well. It's not as great as it seems to be. So I want to kind of just give you my experience and my knowledge about what I saw and why I actually don't work with pro athletes anymore. So first thing is, don't work with a team. Instead, work with an individual player. You know, working with the team has a lot of headaches. I actually learned this from Tim Grover. If you don't know who the fuck Tim Grover is, well, you should. He was Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's trainer, a real badass motherfucker. Wrote some awesome books called Relentless and Winning. I had the privilege of meeting him back about 4 or 5 years ago and talking to him for like an hour. The dude is a dude of dudes, but basically he always talked about in his books like working with an individual player and staying away from the team. So this person originally reached out to me and wanted to work with the team. So this is why you shouldn't actually work directly with the team. First off is there's way too many egos and opinions. You know, the whole team is loaded from top to bottom. You got the athletic trainers, you got the nutritionists, you got the strength coaches, you got the position coaches, you got the GMs, you got the orthos, you got everybody with an opinion and lots of egos, and everyone wants to be right. They want to be the one that actually fixed the problem. They don't want to work as a team. Do a bunch of shit that doesn't work, and it causes a lot of issues. Next thing is, especially if you're like the massage therapist in there or like the soft tissue person, you're going to be told what to do a lot and how to do it. You know, you're going to be very low on the totem pole, and that sucks when that happens. But basically they just go, well, the other people have a higher degree than you, so they're smarter than you. And you know, that's all bullshit. I talk about all the time. It's just because someone has a doctorate in front of their name doesn't mean they fucking know anything. They just were able to go to school longer than you were. But you're also going to get a lot of the athletes telling you what to do, how to treat, where to treat, what they want, and you really just end up providing more of that service. Next thing is you take a back seat to what I call lame dick orthos. Yeah, that's what I said, lame dick orthos. Orthopedic surgeons, they're fine when shit gets really bad, but they think they fucking know everything about everything because they are an orthopedic surgeon. They don't know jack shit about actually treating the tissue, about preventing injuries. They just think they know everything. So they're the ones that people consult before shit gets really fucked up, when it's more of a soft tissue based thing. And then they think they know everything. And these fuckers do not know everything. You can tell how much I hate orthopedic surgeons, because they've killed a lot of people with bullshit surgeries and they think they know more than they do. They're great fucking technicians, but they are the last person that you should see, and they shouldn't have an opinion on the front end because they don't know jack shit about biomechanics and function and everything else. There we go. I got real ranty on that, but fuck those people. Next thing you got to do when you work with a team is you got to work around their tight schedule. They got practice, they got film, they got all sorts of shit. So you got to be available whenever they need you, and it's on a tight schedule. Next thing they do is they work you like crazy, high loads. You're having to do a lot of work on a lot of athletes. If you're working on like football players or hockey players or things like that, they're big. Some of those motherfuckers are big, and they got a lot of tissue, and they're going to work you real hard and make sure they get the money's worth out of you when you're there treating for the team. And then lastly, if new staff comes in, like coaches, a GM, etc., all that, like say there's turnover and the team sucks, they bring in all their staff. They usually get rid of all the existing people on the staff and bring on their own people. So there's no real job security. So I originally worked a little bit with some local sports teams, and that's where I started seeing myself. So I decided to really just go, and I had read Tim Grover's book and started understanding, hey, I'm going to reach out specifically just to the pro athletes individually. Usually I went through like their agents, or I went through them on social media, and I got away from the team and really wanted to be that. And that's where I really grew and started seeing some really high-end athletes that many of you would know if I mentioned their name. Here's some positives I had with the pros. Number one is the ones that are really fucking good. Like, I'm not talking about like a 7th round draft pick. I'm talking like the best of the best. Like, they don't care about price. They know that it's really good, and they don't give it. They're not going to nickel and dime you on price. They're just going to be like, okay, that's what it costs. And you own that, and you have that conviction about your price. Another cool thing about working with the pros is they respond to treatment really good. They're healthy, they're eating right, they're taking care of their bodies way better than the general population. And they really are incentivized more than regular people to get better as soon as possible. So that really helped as well. And the last thing is, it's just pretty fucking cool to be around some of those people. Like, I'm like, holy shit, kind of starstruck. You're like, you're so-and-so. Oh my God, I watched you on TV. I watched you do this. It's pretty fucking cool. Yeah. I'm a huge sports guy, and it was cool to be around some of those people. So now the negatives. And honestly, the negatives for me outweighed the pros, which is why I stopped working with the pro athletes. But big thing I saw was they always thought they knew better. They knew what they needed, what they wanted treated. They really wanted to call the shots and tell me what to do and how to do it. And, for me, I'm a stubborn motherfucker, and I'm a hell of a lot smarter than they are about complex injuries. So when they did that, it kind of, rubbed me the wrong way. They never give you full credit for fixing a problem. I'm not one that needs a lot of credit, but it's nice to be like, hey, you did a good job. They usually think it's like a combination of things. They're like, oh, well, I'm just a super fucking athlete. I got an awesome nutritionist. My personal trainer's great, or blah, 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 blah. They never really give you full credit for what you do. And I tended to work on some really messed up and jacked up injuries that other people weren't fixing. And it was clear that I was fixing that problem that other people weren't. But still, hey, that's what happened. Next was just being on their schedule. You never knew when they would need you, or when you'd go, or when they need you to fly in, or they need you to come to their house, or if they had an emergency that popped up. That really hurt, which in turn kind of kept me from growing my own practice. I never knew when I was actually going to be there, because I had to set time aside chasing after that dream of being the pro athletes like guru and special person that was going to fix all the problems. So I couldn't really grow my own practice. Next thing was, it was really hard to manage the athlete's load. I say a lot of times, especially during the season, we were in what's called like triage mode, where shit was really fucked up and they need to get back on the field as quick as possible. That never really worked. I tended to do better with people in the off season that were rehabbing injuries and wanted to like get back from where they were. I didn't like to do a lot of in-season treatment, because a lot of times it would just mess things up and make it worse. And then lastly is, the pros are just getting too much treatment from too many fucking people. They'd have like, I had one, and he was like getting like massages like five hours a week, and then scraping and cupping and corrective exercises and acupuncture and all sorts of shit that we didn't really know what was working. And honestly, you can do too much treatment. A lot of us don't think that can happen. We think treatment can only go two ways. It can make you better or it doesn't do anything. We don't understand if we do a shit ton of treatment and make it worse, it's going to cause bigger problems. So I personally, myself, stopped working with pro athletes about 5 or 6 years ago. And here's why. Number one is it's way more satisfying to help regular ass people. Yeah, regular ass people. You know, if I can help like an awesome mom with kids who has a crippling migraines and headaches to function better and be a better part of her society, and just in general, that is way more rewarding than helping an athlete with his knee or his shoulder get back on the field and make a couple more $1 million. Next thing is I had a set schedule and there was no travel. That sucked, you know, traveling and going all over the place. I never had real good consistency and it fucked up my own health, fucked up my own well-being. You know, I got depressed, I got angry, I got overweight because I didn't have time to take care of myself. And then I really just got tired of dealing with their so-called experts and their handlers, you know, the people that think they fucking know everything. They think they know everything. And really a lot of times it was like the personal trainers. They think they know everything about everything. They don't know jack shit about actually fixing the tissue, but that didn't help them. That didn't stop them from, you know, making sure they let me know that they knew everything and that I was there. And there's a great line in Tim Grover's book. I forget which one, if it was Relentless or Winning, where they'd be like, well, we need to do things this way or that way. And he'd go, motherfucker, if we're doing things that way and it was working, then why am I here? You're the person, and I was the person that came in when other shit didn't work. And then lastly, as I said before, I couldn't grow my own practices. I just wasn't consistently available to get people on treatment plans and get them in a good place. So I'm actually anti working with athletes, but if you want to go down that route, that's cool. And it is pretty awesome. Like I said, the allure of it is pretty fucking cool. So here's what to do if you do want to work with pro athletes. Number one, well, sub one, like I said, don't work with teams. Work specifically with an individual athlete, but pick one specific problem and market that. Be like the turf toe person, be the shoulder person, be the hamstring person, be the groin pull person, be something like that and be very specific and very focused about what you do. That's going to help put you in a different level and expert specialty type of status. Next thing is market performance versus recovery all day long. Anyone can help someone recover. That's basic shit, but we can actually help them perform better, where they're going to run a faster 40. They're going to swing the bat further. They're going to jump higher. That shit is on a different level. Market performance and one specific problem. Next thing, charge at least 4 to 5 times what you normally would, because nothing screams mediocre to people with a lot of money than something that's cheap. They're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, if it's $500 or $600 or $700 for this treatment, must be pretty fucking good, and they must know what they're doing. If you're trying to make it affordable for the athletes, they're going to be like, really don't think that's going to be able to help. And lastly, and I think this is the most important one, don't hang on their nuts. What does that mean? Don't do a bunch of photos or shout outs or say, hey, I'm working on this so-and-so and put their team logo in there. Just do the fucking work and do it behind the scenes and it will spread. That's exactly what Tim Grover talked about. He's not taking photos and putting them up on Instagram and showing everyone, oh, I'm treating so-and-so. Nobody fucking cares. But you know what? When you fix that person, they're going to tell other high-end athletes that you're really good. And you know what? You might even be in a situation where you're just fixing them and they'll pay you extra to make sure you don't help anyone else, because you're going to give them a competitive advantage because you're increasing their performance and making them extra millions of dollars and dominating on the field. That's all I got for you guys. If you haven't yet, go grab our newly revamped and always evolving free training modules. It's really going to introduce you to the idea of solving one problem and being a true specialist, because I know deep down inside, I know it's there. I know you want to make more money and you want to do awesome work. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Specialists get paid 10 times more than a generalist. Appreciate you guys listening. And I always leave you with this as I close the show. Go out there and be fucking great this week. It's the only thing that truly pays. Appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. If you want help on the path to being able to double your income, all while working 50% less and being taken seriously as a healthcare provider, I have some great resources for you. Number 1, get access to our free training modules and introduction to my system, the Peak Method. Number 2, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Soft Tissue Revolution. Links to all of this can be found in the show notes. Lastly, if you like the show, please leave us a 5-star review and share it with others that you know it could help.